Got kicked out of school when I was 13, battering the PE teacher, wanted to make me run around the fields and I broke his legs. And then loads of them turned up at my house. I got cut with a machete right from my stomach down to my leg. I could see what he was looking at. I know what he wanted to cut off. Loyalty, honour and respect. Club comes first before anything. We all stick together. What makes the 1% so strong is the prospecting. You will do everything you're told for 2 years. Anything. No questions asked. Even if a member wants a packet of 𝐟𝐸𝐺 at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're 60 miles away, you're getting on your bike and taking that member a packet of 𝐟𝐸𝐺. From something minor to obviously the extreme cases, you are doing it. People are going to know that there's someone in the area all the time, 24/7.
So what is it you're going to do?
I will have people in that hotel until they stop. If they still don't stop, that's when the outlaw bikers will turn up. That is then trouble. Then you'll be dealt with in-house and you won't be doing it again. Defend your family. Defend your community. If you're not doing that, you're not a man.
Have you got any skeletons in your closet? I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, Gold Seal. I use their products every single day, and now I finally get to work with them. I use their products for anti-inflammatory, reduced anxiety, better sleep, and mental clarity. I'm going to put a link to their website in the description, along with a 10% discount code for you to take advantage of. Go and have a look at their website, see if there's anything in there for you. I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and good health. Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. I know you've come a long way down from up north somewhere. I won't say exactly where you've come from, but you've come out of traps. You've appeared everywhere, and you're a man on a mission to save the women and the children of our country. Now, anyone that's got those set of morals is right by me. So I want to find out all about who you are, what your mission is, what you've done, where you're going, what your plans are. But because you're so hell-bent on protecting the children of the UK, I am too. I've had a very troubled childhood and I've got family history of the kind of thing that you and me are both fighting for and against. So if we can start with your childhood, just give me a brief summary of your childhood.
So I was brought up with two alcoholics, basically. One was my stepdad, who's straight out the military. So he came into my life when I was about 4 or 5, and my mother, obviously. He was straight out the army. Like I said, I think he had an injury from the army, full of steroids from the army, mental case, alcoholic, and just loved beating everyone up. The police wouldn't go near him. He could literally walk into places. He was into a lot of credit card fraud back when there was all the swipe machines back then. So he was a proper
shifty geezer.
Shifty geezer, yeah. Disappear for weeks on end, in and out of prison. But he loved to, when he was home, loved to every night kick fuck out of me and my brothers and sisters. Loved it. So that was every night. I remember, so it's what started me off on this. So it was when my youngest brother Adam was born. So I'm a family of 6, so I'm the oldest. And he'd walk in the bedroom as a newborn baby, pick him up and throw him at the wall. So he was in my bedroom, Adam. So from then on, I sat outside my bedroom every night. Sat outside, thought, if everyone's taking a kicking, I'll take it. That was about 6 or 7, and that went on for 4 or 5 years. So every night I was fighting this big, massive 6'4" monster. Kicked it until it stopped hurting me anymore. Until one day I whacked back. So yeah, that was pretty much every day. They were drunk. Had the kick-ins every day. And I thought I was doing really well. I thought I'd done well, protecting my brother. Then I found out, a few years later, that he'd been abusing my sister after I'd gone bed. So everything I'd worked for, gone. So that set me on there. That was like the turning point.
And so was he domineering your mum as well?
Yeah, well, she was just drunk all the time. Yeah.
She was also a victim of
Yeah. So, he'd walk in. He wasn't seen for months. He'd walk in, wipe his finger on the TV. Any bit of dust there, that's it. Everyone got it. Proper, yeah. Maniac, crazy.
Yeah, I had a feeling, mate, there would have been something behind those eyes.
Yep.
Anyone that goes on a mission to protect children, they've normally got first-hand experience, and really they are the kind of people that you want protecting the children because they know the ramifications of child abuse. It doesn't end there.
Nope.
It stays with you for life, and I get that. I heard you say that you was a big angry lad.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I mean the next question is why, but I imagine that was why.
Well, you might say, but one thing I've come to appreciate is that I learned that I didn't have any fear. Because I took that every day. One thing, I was fearless. And so that went on, fighting all the time, letting my anger out on everyone else, starting the doors. I was such a big lad as well. So I was 14, I was on the doors in Manchester, IDing people, weren't meant to be there. Got kicked out of school when I was 13 for battering the PE teacher because he wanted to make me run around the fields and I broke his legs. So yeah, working on doors, that's 14, fighting, getting up to all the naughty stuff that comes with door work, behind the scenes. The drugs, the taking other doors over, the dealing with all the gangs, and every night, I was on the doors, so it was every night of the week. Was
you taking the drugs or shifting them, or both?
Both, yeah, it was party. So I was working with the Noonans at the time. That's how far back. And so, yeah, it was having the dealers in the club, what gangs were coming in, and yeah, just all the other stuff that comes with that life, the kidnappings, just a gang life.
So would you get called upon to do jobs off the door?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, you get a message, right, we're going here, come in these clothes. Coming that, and you knew what that was. Back then everyone knew what was going on. This is way before SIA licenses and all that.
Yeah, SIA come in because I run a security firm, and the SIA sort of guidelines come in around 2001 here. So if you was 14 on the door, and I was 18 when I started, and there's 2 years between us, so you was late 90s on the door in Manchester, which was very rough on the doors, because now the violence is sort of off the doors now, isn't it? But back then it was
all on the door.
The violence was in the pubs and the clubs, and it was pretty heavy. Yeah, when it would go off, it would go off. Any hairy situations that concerned you back then?
Absolutely, loads. I could speak for days on it. I was running Music Box. That was a big absolutely massive nightclub. So could tell so many stories. Constant. If you weren't getting bottled and you weren't, back then bouncers then, is non-doorman, and it was a whole different scene. Everyone was dripping in gold. The people on the door were dripping. We had pockets full of money. Our envelopes that we got for wages, our cash envelopes, they stayed in the drawer at home. You didn't even open them. It was constant. I remember I had a big massive ring that said bouncer on it, big massive knuckle duster, but literally just. Yeah, but yeah, it was constant. The gangs coming up when you had, the gangs would come to the door wanting to do their drugs in there, so they turn up. 50 lads. We got a big glass door in between us. There's 3 of us. It'd be constant. So let the head guy would come in, go, you coming out, let's have a chat, and then that's it. 2 of us drag him downstairs. And that was why the one kept all of us out, and then it'd be all going off constantly.
And did you find that all the hostility and all the violence, when it was all going off and erupting, did you find that to be your comfort zone?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds insane.
That's where I feel alive.
A normal person,
That's where, that is my safety. That's I know what to do here. In chaos, I'm all right. I know, they used to drag back to my house as well. I got cut with a machete right from the stomach down to my leg. From the triads, because they'd come to a nightclub and they weren't allowed in with trainers or something, so they waited till afterwards and followed me home, and then loads of them turned up at my house. It kicked, it just all went into my gate, and it all kicked off major. There was loads of them on me. Look at 2 Rottweilers, they helped me out a bit. They actually jumped through the kitchen. One of my Rottweilers jumped through the kitchen window to get out into the front garden with all this. But yeah, I remember, I'll always remember it, this guy come running out of machete, and I was fighting, we had lads on both sides, and I knew, I could see what he was looking at, I know what he wanted to cut off when he was swung this machete, and I knew, and I just, even though I was getting blows to the head and everything at the time, and I just moved just in time, and he just literally sliced me down, and went right into my stomach. But that was everyday life, it was normal back then.
And what sort of a doorman were you? What sort of a bouncer were you?
I always worked with pretty much the same team. I was not the talker. I'm still known for that. I'm not the talker.
You just go in.
I just go in. The other lads used to stay back there. We'll try and talk to him. And they always go, we always know when Chris has had enough, because his hand will just come over our shoulders and go, British. And that's when we know it's going off. But yeah, the other lads I work with, they're usually the talkers and know what to fight.
And how violent were you as a younger man?
Oh, I'll go a lot. There was no limits. no limits. I
Jail?
was an angry man, yeah. You'd have to pull me off. They'd have to pull me off. If I was going, I was going. And I'd have no recall of it. It would just be, that's it, we're doing it. Yeah, jail.
And what did you get sent to jail for?
The latest one was firearms, but that was a bit later on in life. But I've been in and out. It was all violence.
All violent related?
Yeah, every bit violence, yeah.
Fighting, firearms.
Yeah.
And what were the jails like back then?
So I was always in and out at a younger age. I wasn't doing big times. I was just in and out.
Because we know the prison system has changed. It's forever changing in the UK.
It was from the latest stretch. They're like holiday homes now. It's like going on holiday, going in prison. But back then, it was just you pretty much locked up and you didn't have anything. But I was only doing like small stints back then.
Was you doing anything legitimate along the side of the door work, or was it just all the heavy-handed work that needs to be done?
Yeah, I mean that's back then. That's all the door scene was.
Right.
There was no nice because even the clubs next door knew. You knew their bosses were looking at taking your door. Everyone was always looking at each other. Every firm was looking at it. There was no friends. Yeah. If you weren't on the same team, you knew there was against you.
See, that doesn't happen now. See, back when we were doing it, there was door wars.
Yeah, constantly. All the lads' cars outside had baseball bats, had all the dusters in, everything, because you never know. Or even your own boss will go, we're going to take that door tonight. You ready? We're like, okay. And that's how it was.
Other than the machete attack, have you ever been badly hurt?
I got stabbed in the back as well.
On another occasion?
Yeah. I don't see adrenaline now. But it weren't until after about half hour after the fight that someone said, you got a knife stuck in your back. I didn't realise it was in there. But it's constantly bottles, I was fighting with a big rugby team in Weatherspoons in the Printworks, and I got hit from behind with a chain that knocked all my back teeth out.
The rugby boys were hard to tame.
It was a good scrap, actually. I really enjoyed it. I remember we was even laughing about it outside afterwards. We was even laughing about it. Yeah, we all enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good scrap. We all enjoyed that one.
The rugby boys and even some of the fireman nights back in the day, I used to think, fucking, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, rowdy old bunch. Okay, so that gives me a good background.
Yeah.
Understand why you would have been aggressive, why you would have been violent, and by your own admission, you was a very violent man, angry because of the child abuse. All makes perfect sense to me. So I'm curious as to find out more about the 1% Club. So, I mean, I'm assuming we're talking like the Hells Angels, the Outlaws.
Yeah, I'll clear it. You've got Outlaw Bikers, which are the 1% clubs. Anyone that wears that down with the 1%. So there's a good 20, 30 in the UK. You got some like the bigger ones, are well known, like the Outlaws. So you got the Outlaws MC, which are an outlaw biker club. And obviously the Hells Angels. But then you got loads of independent clubs. Like I'm in the Sons of Hell, you got Devil's Disciples, Vikings, Druids, Warlocks, there's loads of them.
And what do these bikers do in the 1% Club?
What separates them from the other bikers are?
Yeah, well, to my understanding, the 1% Biker Club, they're like the mafia on two wheels. So I'm surprised that you're able to speak so freely, which is going to be one of my questions. Like, how come you can speak so freely about the 1% Club?
Yeah.
Because they're a heavy firm.
Yeah, no, I can talk about what everyone knows. Same, it comes under outlaw bikers, and it is what it is. Doesn't mean criminal. Just means we don't do things. The system's not made for us. We live outside the system. You've got your bad eggs. You've got your naughty ones. You've got business that goes on. But it's not everyone. But
you deal with stuff in-house. If there's a problem, it gets dealt with. Yeah. For example, what sort of backlash would a 1% biker get if he took a liberty with someone, say the president, for example? So, and what are the rankings, actually? That's interesting.
So every member, once you get your patches, every member's equal.
And what's a patch?
So your patches on your back. You get your full patch. You get so if you prospect, when you're prospecting, if you ever see the bikers out and you've got a bottom rocker, so just the one, so you see my patches on my back, you have the bottom rocker, and they're usually the prospects, or the outer prospects. And to get your full patch, which means you've got everything on the back and your front, after you've done your time prospecting, that means you get your patch. So once you get into the club, you've done your prospecting, you've done whatever it takes and whatever's asked of you for however long it's been asked. All clubs vary. Everyone in the club is equal. They're members. Then you do have jobs in the club, but it's not like a hierarchy, if that makes sense. They're just filling out something that the club needs. So you have your press, you have your vice pres, you have your sergeant of arms, and your secretary and your treasurer, which could quite self, quite explanatory. Your treasurer's obviously looking after funds, for clubhouses and whatever. Sergeant of arms, making sure everything's in order, making sure the lads are in order, dealing with situations, and if something's going to happen, it's the sergeant of arms who goes, right, this is going to happen, we'll be doing this.
He calls the shots.
Yeah.
And what kind of situations are we talking about?
Anything. So it could be arguments with another club, arguments where one of the lads has got personal issues, where someone's caused issues, because we all stick together. Brothers are brothers.
And what's the code? Because there is a code to the 1% Club, isn't there?
Yeah, people ask that. There's no set. It's the loyalty, honour and respect. Club comes first before anything, and so you always have each other's back. But to be honest, a lot of it's keeping them out of trouble. They don't need to. People presume it's a lot of wars. There's a lot of kicking off everywhere. In fact, it is very quick because everything's so organised, and a lot of clubs have got respect for each other, and everyone's partying with each other. Not much goes on in that ways, but when it does, everyone's involved.
Does it become a very violent institution?
If it needs to be, yeah. You talk about people that have done the time to get the patches. They're not soft lads. They're not ones, to go through your prospecting alone is not an easy task.
Yeah, so talk to me about the prospect process.
So prospect is, if somebody wants to join, an MC club, an outlaw biker, 1% club, whichever you want to target, they'll obviously make contact somehow. Maybe they'll meet him at a bike show or whatecan and then you come and ask, I fancy doing this. So the prospecting is a long period of time. It takes a period to get to know a man. We want to weigh him up, and he wants to, and equally him to make sure he wants to be a part of that as well. It works both ways.
If he's ready for that life.
Yeah. Then for let's say 2 years, you will do everything you're told for 2 years. Anything, no questions asked. Right. Even if a member wants a packet of 𝐟𝐸𝐺 at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're 60 miles away, you're getting on your bike and taking that member a packet of 𝐟𝐸𝐺, or from something minor to obviously the extreme cases. Of you turning up here, you are doing it.
So you're a reasonable bunch then.
Yeah, you are doing it. You are, you're going through the process. And that goes, pretty much all clubs. It's to make a strong and loyal brotherhood like that, if you just let people in and out, you don't know who they are, you don't know who's behind your back, you've not got to know them. So what makes the 1% so strong is the prospecting.
And do you ever get police try and infiltrate the club? Because it's no secret, like their criminality goes on within these biker gangs. So do you often get police trying to slip in, go undercover?
It's been heard of. To even get to the point of asking to prospects, and the homework's done. You wouldn't get anywhere near. You wouldn't get anywhere near. You'd be sniffed out straight away.
So what's the recruitment process for that?
Someone comes and asks, then the homework's done on that person on a deep level. There's there's ways and means of finding out anything, as you're well aware. So it's finding out who they say they are, who do we know, and most people that come, they're usually from the bike scene anyway, and people have known them for years.
I had a guy I interviewed a while ago, and I didn't actually put the interview out because he was such a fucking bad person and he wasn't accountable. Now, we all make mistakes in our life, but I didn't know what was going to come. Yeah. And if I'd have put it out, I would have put him in grave danger. He was a bad person. But he was talking about when he become part of the 1% Bikers Club, which I'm not entirely sure if I believe him, but he said that he was basically going to spill the beans on the whole club to me. And he said they will come in and home in on the vulnerable, suck them in and get them to do all sorts of madness for you.
I know. The last thing any strong bike club wants is someone that they have to suck in. If you've got to suck someone in, or you're trying to put, I've never ever asked someone to join. In fact, it takes them a lot to come and ask. If you've got to make someone come or to try and convince someone, they're not in it for the right reasons, and they're the ones that are going to stab you in the back. That makes you a weak club.
That makes sense to me. I didn't. There was something very off with him, which is hence why I never put the interview. It's the only interview I've never ever put out, because I thought if I air this, I'm going to be responsible for the backlash he gets, and it wouldn't just be nasty comments online. He would have been in danger, and it's I can't have that on my conscience. So. Yeah, I'm glad I've cleared that up. So on a whole, what's being an outlaw biker like on the day-to-day level?
Day-to-day, just normal people. Got family men between us all and all the different clubs. It's so much loyalty and honour, and because we all party together as well, from all the different clubs everywhere. You've probably seen it on my. I'm at different parties all the time. The day to day is literally normal people going to do their jobs, going back to the families, and then whatever night's their night, they all get on the bikes and go to the clubhouses. You know, we have my club. We don't allow women in the clubhouses. You know, wherever we go, we don't have women in. Nothing against women on that world, but it's men's time. Where we want to just sit and just be with the men. And then we want to get on our bikes, we go and ride together, we go and meet other bike clubs, go and sit in a field, have a fire, go and enjoy, you know, just nice and just to sit in a field with 1,000, 2,000 men, big tent, a big beer tent up and just...
It sounds like the community spirit that Britain's lost.
Yeah.
I think a lot of men are desperate to be part of something nowadays. Yeah. So do you get criminals and straight goers mixing together and like they don't judge each other?
No. So you know, to be in a club, you know, to go through the processing, we're not here, you know, running businesses. You're accepted for who you are. So you get some lads and they'll come and try and prospect and they'll start acting the big man. You're like, go away, you know. We know acting like that. You know exactly what you're about. The ones that can do it don't you know they don't show off like that. You know they put on the act. You can tell straight away with the act. But yeah, most just normal guys. They, you know, you wouldn't think they'd get into a fight. They're just nice, really good guys.
And so, how are you able to speak so freely? I'll go to that question because obviously there's things that do go on in the 1% club that cannot go any further. But the fact that you don't get many bikers in the UK putting their face to camera.
22 years now. The world's changed. I think the world needs to see more about it. You get bad eggs in every community. You know, like door work, all the different. You always get some that just, what if you're just going to cause all that trouble for? And so, you know, the media, every time anyone ever hears anything about bikers, especially outlaw bikers, is all the bad stuff. Oh, this guy chopped this up, this guy shot this guy. It's don't happen very often, but they make a big deal out of it. They don't put out all the charity runs. They don't put out all the work in the community. They don't put out all the shows that they do. You're looking at any town around Eastern, you'll see like there's a big one in Manchester, Roughly's Toy Run. All the bikers turn up. They all bring Easter eggs and everything, and they go around to all the care homes. You don't see any of the community part of what the bikers do. A bit like, well, we know what the media's like.
Don't we just?
Yeah.
That's a better way for me to frame the question. What's the in-house justice system like amongst the bikers?
You become entrained into the outlaw biker way. So you're not going to... You'd have to be really stupid or very drunk to do something wrong because you know how we all work, and that's the way 1% works.
So if you're in one of the 1% clubs, would it be dangerous to misbehave?
Yeah, because one thing, I think society's missing this, but one thing 1%ers do is my actions. If I'm wearing this cut and I go and do something, I reflect my whole club and all other 1%ers as well. You're not a singular person. You think and you work like a team. Yeah. And so you work together. And so jeopardise. Let's say if one of our lads just randomly got a knife out and started stabbing people in a pub, let's say. He's had too much whatever, twisted out his head and just gone on a rampage. He's just jeopardised the whole lot of us by his actions, especially if he's wearing his cut.
Yeah.
So he's jeopardised a whole lot. That is then trouble. Yeah, then you'll be dealt with in-house and he won't be doing it again.
Well, rightly so, really, as well, because there's too much madness going on out there and no one's being held accountable, nobody's being pulled in line. So if you've got a big band of brothers that actually point out the shit behaviour and say, and I'm big on this, people calling out their own community. Massive on that because there's a particular community that I don't even need to mention that they seem to be very quiet when atrocities take place within their community. So that's admirable that the bikers are prepared to live a ferocious life, but if somebody crosses the line or they bully somebody or whatever, you deal with it in-house and they don't do it again. I
mean, most disagreements, I'd say, between clubs, so let's say we have our in-house, so if someone did that, it'd be dealt with in-house. But if you have a disagreement with another club, it's very simple. We'll just meet up and put them both together, sort it out, and then we'll have a beer afterwards. But you go and deal with it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and you know what? we need to bring back the old-fashioned way because things are too extreme and unreasonable now. That's the problem with Britain at the moment. It's funny. You live as an outlaw, but I think Britain has become genuinely lawless, and the women and children are now in danger. But I heard you say that you stood back. You took a back step from the bikers for a year or two.
Yeah.
What was it that put you off?
It wasn't me taking a step back to get away from them. I just had to go and deal with some stuff in my own head. So I'd still turn up to the meetings. I didn't take a step back like how that sounds. I just had to go and fix and repair myself. If that makes sense, I had to go on my own little journey.
Yeah, I've been there.
It wasn't taking a step back like, I need to get away from them. It was just like, right, I need to go and do this. So I went on a spiritual journey. It all happened out of nowhere, really, as well. Started with the Buddhism. I started a long time before that, really, but I was making a lot of money doing all the naughty stuff. Like I said about the door days, I was making a lot of money. And I was like, so I'm only 19. I've got all this money, I'm making all this money. I've got everything the world tells me I should have. Why am I still
not happy?
Not happy. I had it all. I was only 19. 10 grand a day. Like, something's not right here.
How was you making 10 grand a day?
I was doing a lot of naughty stuff back then. Wheeling and dealing.
Without incriminating yourself too much. Because you did it, because another thing that I looked into you about, which I thought was admirable, was that you was also a very successful, legitimate businessman. You had an engineering business, turn over millions of pounds. You was a multi-millionaire yourself. I suppose that's an interesting question. How did you make your first million? Was that legitimately?
See, when people say millionaire, yes, I don't think any millionaire has £1 million in the bank. I started with, so I was at a very young age. I started working with one of the members of the club, who was had a shop fixing lawnmowers and chainsaws. Then we got it. This is when eBay started taking off and stuff like that, and online. And it was crazy how easy this was. But if someone's chainsaws cost a lot of money. Someone's chainsaw, the engine had gone, it's beyond repair. It'd get thrown at the back of the shop. In eBay and everything came out, the parts. So we started selling the parts because back then you couldn't buy second-hand chainsaw parts. And obviously all these people had all these chainsaws, lawnmowers, generators. So we just opened a little engineering shop selling all the second-hand parts of all the stuff we got for free. And it went ballistic. I had I had 3 big warehouses, loads of staff. The warehouse was full of filing cabinets, welded on top of each other, 3 high. And so the staff had to run around with ladders. eBay was mental. I had a big online business, and it just went crazy. And that was just before I then started going on that path.
Yeah, so what made you, because you sold all your stock.
Yeah, I just weighed it all in.
For a fraction of the value. Yeah. So who's Pachamama?
So Pachamama, I'll just tell you, so when I spoke before about Buddhism, I then started, one thing led it just like a spiral. Next minute I was working, the next minute I was in the Amazon rainforest with ayahuasca. And I've got a house out there. I spend a lot of time out there. Still? Yeah. And Pachamama's, if you've ever done ayahuasca or anything like that, everyone draws the same picture of her and everything. It's just the energy that comes through when you have ayahuasca. So, Pachamama means Mother Nature. Right. So that's the one that comes and speaks to you when you're having ayahuasca in the rainforest.
And was it Mother Nature that spoke to you and said, basically, sell all your worldly belongings? Yeah, there's a deeper meaning. Yeah. I mean, that's some spiritual awakening.
Yeah, we got on for a few months, and ahhing, and it was down to trying to do my business and then working with medicine at weekends. And it wasn't happening. I was too tired, and that's it. I just gave everything up.
And what's it called? Ayahuasca. Yeah. See, I used to do hallucinogenics when I was younger, and it mangled my mind. Yeah. So I've seen that, and I'm very interested in everything about it, but I'm too scared to ever try that. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm being brutally honest, you got a man.
Who's scared? You or the part of you that you'd have to let go?
Well, this is where we get
because
into
if
the
you're
whole...
scared, it's fear.
Yeah, there's definitely fear in me of like taking something that will take control of my mind and then I never get it back again.
But your mind's the one that's controlling you. So if you don't get control of your mind, you're letting your mind control you through your life.
Well, yeah, but it's very hard to control your mind, especially if you've got hallucinogenics in you.
I could explain this scientifically if you wanted to, but...
Go on, 2 minutes on it, because I'm interested.
Yeah. So I work a lot with frequency. So even though I've studied shamanics, I went then had to go and study the science behind it. So this is my understanding. So you've heard of brainwaves. You know what your brainwaves are, and your brainwaves are very much the amount of neurons that are firing that send electrical signals. So you got beta. When you wake up in the morning and your brain starts waking up, you go into beta mode. That's where all your programming is, all your fears, your programming. You do the day-to-day things, always scared of the same things, keep yourself small, you don't know who you really are. So that's beta. When you sat down reading a book or watching TV, go into alpha, so you're a bit more susceptible. And then down is when you're asleep, and theta when you're full, can't leave your body. It's just the amount of neurons that are firing. So ayahuasca just basically shuts that part down, where all your fears are, and shows it you, and you can see it. So it's not like LSD, not like other psychedelics. It's very much shows you what's in that part of your brain, your subconscious.
Is it a frightening experience?
No. Not if you've done it with the right people and they've taught you beforehand and you're ready to do it. Because you've got to be willing to let go of everything you think you are. You're not even giving your own name. Everything has all been programmed in by other people. You know, you've learned everything off other people. Your opinions you've learned off other people. Everything. So who are you really behind that?
Because you've wrote books on this, haven't you?
Yes. So I've worked with celebrities. I've worked with royalty.
It's important to mention that you are an actual author as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Got a couple of books out. The best ones are on the way.
The best is yet to come.
Yeah, the best is yet to come. But yeah, that's what basically it does. People think that they are the thoughts, and this is why I was kind of what led into the Shield actually. But I've been running so many teaching men this, running empowerment retreats for men, showing them that the thoughts are fake and teaching them how, even without plant medicines, through meditation, but very, very simply shutting your eyes and focusing on your breath. And then when your thoughts are telling you to stop it and all this, and go, tell me what's so important, they all shut up. And then your mind goes blank because your thoughts are fake. Because
you studied psychology as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and neurology, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I needed to know, it's great having a psychedelic experience, but I was like, how's this work? A lot of people will get stuck in the spiritual world or they'll get stuck in the healing world. But I was like, what's this doing? Why is this showing me this? And how can I implement it into the real world? Because there's no point in learning all this stuff if tomorrow I wake up and everything's the same.
And did going on that journey mend the broken parts of you?
It's calmed my anger down. It's funny, you used to always tell me, I was like, will you not take my anger away? He's like, you'll need that later on. I was like, why? It's like, always, you'll need that later on.
Yeah.
Which is funny enough. But yeah, it made me stop being a victim to what happened as a child. Stopped it being my identity. So I wasn't this traumatised kid. I wasn't this angry kid now. I understand who I was and what I've learned from it, what I've took from it to bring it together, and the tools that I learned, what I picked up from it to use going forward.
That's interesting you say that. I'll tell you a little story about me, very, very briefly, then we'll move on to the Shield. But recently I went on a friend of mine's podcast and we touched base on a very traumatic story again from part of my life. I won't bore you with it now, but people watching that subscribe, they'll know my story. And I done the interview. I'm brutally honest. I'm brutally open. I've got no problem talking about my vulnerabilities, strengths, weaknesses. I'll just own whatever needs to be owned. Like, I'm accountable. When he put the thumbnail together to promote the interview, my facial expression looked like one of the victim, and he titled it one of the victim. He wasn't doing it purposefully. And normally it's like, it's your show, do what you like. It's my pleasure passing that story on to your audience so it gives somebody some strength. But I couldn't sit comfortably with a title that perceived me as a victim. So I did say, I'm not comfortable with that title because I'm not a victim. Yeah. If anything, I'm the aggressor here. I fought back, I rose up, I passed the baton of strength to other people, and that's my only bone of contention. Everything else, fine, don't edit it, put it out as it is, it's raw, but I'm not a victim. No matter what I've been through, if I'm still standing, I'm not a victim.
So what I said before, like in beta mode, you you pick up everything and that's how you behave, yeah? You understand that? So whoever did, I don't know your story, but whoever implemented that on you has picked it up from somewhere else. So, because that's the only reason people behave a certain way they do is because they've learned that. And so they then pass it on. And so they pass it on. And once you see that, you know what, so I'd say, like with my stepdad, like I said, he was abused, he would come from the army, he was mentally wrong. He was just doing all he'd ever been taught. And I was just sat there, like, why he wanted to do it. He wasn't going, I'm going to do this to Chris today. I was like, I'm going to go, you know, he wasn't coming after me. He was just doing all he knew. All that was in that little head of his.
Have you forgiven him?
I see the bigger picture, so there's nothing to forgive. It's just programming. Because my full-time job, my main job is coaching. So I coach people through this. That's what I do. And so one of the first things to do is, are you really the victim? Look at, if your mother's done that or your mother's taught you this, why is she picked it up from? And once you see it's just programming being passed down, then you can stop, okay, well, I'm just being programmed. Then you can separate from that and go, okay, well, that's that situation. I'm not that.
That's the key. It's the separating from the learnt behaviour, because no matter what abuse I went through as a kid, like, you get to a certain age, you know, left from right, you know, right from wrong. It's like, well, I'm not doing that. Yep. I'm breaking the chain and the mould, and I've done that without going to the jungle.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And taking it, what's it called again?
Ayahuasca.
So I'm an alpha male,
but
when it comes to ayahuasca, I'm beta male.
Yeah,
and I'll own that.
Yeah,
that.
Well,
that's not for me.
No, it's not for everyone. To be honest, when people phone me,
but everyone I know that's been there, they love it.
Yeah,
they try and sell it to me. You've got to do it, Liam.
Yeah.
I said,
no, you don't.
But I haven't got the courage.
Yeah, I would say if you had any thoughts, and you should not be forced into taking that because you'll go into the wrong place in it. You have to be really ready. And I do try and put people off. When people phone me, I've come to Portugal, come here and do this with me. You sit with me while I do this, because I still get a load of phone calls to do it.
Is it legal to hold those retreats in the UK?
Not in the UK, no.
Oh, I didn't think it was.
No. I've got a place in Portugal that's due to open soon.
And that's legal?
Yeah, it's legal.
Okay.
But I would try and if people phone me now, I especially after understanding and everything I've studied since, I do try and put them off. If you're not willing to give up everything that's in your head, there's no point.
Well, I'm going to, in a little while, I'm going to touch base on stoicism and sort of how men step into power, because I know that's your field. But let me first Dragon's Den you on the shield.
Yeah.
Because people are going to want to know.
Yeah.
Like, what is the shield? What's the mission statement? What are the technicalities? What are the practicalities? What are the legalities?
Yeah.
So what is the shield?
So the shield, I, like many other people, I've always, so you can kind of understand now from what I've gone through with the background, I've always had my eyes on it. I've been obsessed with frequency, of trying to understand why they're doing this, what's the energy behind it, programming, you know, so reading, studying, looking at other groups that have tried to go against it, how they've been shut down, like why they're getting shut down so early, you know, who is the actual enemy. Like any man, I want to see my enemy. I don't want to just sit there sprouting off at everything, you know, wasting my energy. Like I love reading The Art of War, you know your enemy.
But the shield is a women and children protection service.
Yeah, so obviously, that's where it stemmed from. I've been always watching. So I've been building this for years in my head. Like, but I needed to, how am I going to do it? Because if I'm going to take it on, like everything else, I'm going all the way. I'm not messing about. But like anything in my whole life, I'm going in, and it's going. And I was doing one of my men's empowerment retreats. A lot of men there. And I just felt as like I'm trying to heal. So obviously I've been working as a shaman for many years now. We're running one of the biggest retreats businesses. To healing people that have been through trauma, healing the women that have gone through it, healing 50-year-old people, men and women that went through it as 8-year-old. So they've carried it all alive.
Yeah,
it's not just that incident. That's bad enough, but I've had to sit there for years. Sold out retreats everywhere, working with these people. So then I was doing my last empowerment retreat, and I'm like, what am I speaking about? You know, I do men's rites of passage retreats. And I'm like teaching these guys about who they really are. We do a 3-day retreat, and they're like, yes, and they're all empowered. They're not victims anymore. They're all, right, let's go. I'm like, what am I doing? Women are getting pulled off train stations. Women are getting their doors kicked in. I'm reading because it was getting really bad. I think it was the algorithm found me, you know. So and I was just like, whoa! Every time I picked my phone up, I was seeing it. I was like, what's going on here outside? I was a bit. I think like everyone else, I didn't realise the scale of it, and then I realised, I was like, what am I doing trying to teach men how to be men when I'm not even being one myself? I'm not living up to what I know, because I teach a lot about masculine energy, protecting, providing, standing your power. You'll feel like a man if you do your man's job. I'm like, I'm not doing anything about these kids. It's happening, and it's happening in my own community.
So what's the mission statement? What's the plan?
The plan, women at home, women don't feel safe. That really affects my head, because women are scared. It's not even the ones that get attacked. So many women messaging me. They're scared in their own house, they're scared to go out in the street, scared to let the kids out. That should not be happening. The men should be there. As a community, we should be there. We're so divided. Why is it so easy to pick a woman up off Liverpool Lime Street stairs in broad daylight, the main train station, and drag her off down the road? That shouldn't be happening. There's no consequences for it. Nobody is watching. And when they do get caught, they're out on the streets that same day doing it. I've got an incident in Stockport 7 times. This guy's pulled kids out at the end of school. He's pulled kids into bushes. The last time, he actually pulled a mother in because she was so small, he thought it was one of the kids. That was within 10 days, 7 times. He keeps getting let back out, and he's attacking children. But basically, yeah, it's our women and children. I do these rites of passage. I do all the Viking retreats, like men being men. But none of us are. You know, why the women and children not safe? We're not doing our job. And when it's happening just down the road from us, and everyone presumes it's just the grooming gangs. Yes, grooming gangs are a massive part of it. But from my experience, so I went and started working in care homes, and I had to go and understand it. Like, you know, so I have to go and understand everything. I don't just take what I see on the news. Care homes are rife with people being groomed, but they're getting groomed by the other kids. It's other kids that are normalising it and saying, oh, come here, come to meet my mates here, come to this hotel, come and get in this taxi. To see, we all know what's going on with grooming gangs. It's quite obvious. It's all there. The ones that I've been coming across is not the grooming gangs. It's the hotels that are involved that have rooms, specially for this. We have the taxi drivers that get that these East European gangs are threatening their family if they don't, on set times, pick kids up for them and take them to these said hotels. I've seen it firsthand. I've gone and spoke to them. I've had it out with them. And this is where everything started clicking into place for me. It's like, right. I used to run something called the Guild of Brothers. I was trying to empower men. Come on, but you've got to stand up now. Come on, we've got to do something.
So what is it you're going to do?
People are going to know that there's someone in the area all the time, 24/7. The app's being built so they can just press a button. Dead simple. So, you know, someone's registered on the app, they can just press a big red button and someone will be there for you. But people have got to look at the government are doing nothing, the police are doing nothing. So the people have got to. I can sit there and blame the government, but there's no point. I'll just get on with the job. And up there, the emergency responders, people that work from home that will come out, people that are on patrol, if needed, women drivers, if a child ever needs taken home, which you shouldn't do. But it's being present. It's not. It cannot do. We cannot go down the vigilante group or they get in the way of the police because we don't want to cause the police any more problems. You know, I want to get the job done. My main responsibility is making sure women and children feel safe, where they can go to the park. If a woman goes to the park and there's men hanging around or something not right, I can have someone there quick.
So are you talking about becoming a modern day team of bobbies on the beat? No,
we're not policing the streets. We're literally for one reason only there for the predators. For their one reason, that is the only reason. I'm going to shut their supply chains down, or, you know, the taxi ranks and all that. But for everyday person, if this explains it, it's like...
explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, so I get a real good idea.
So you remember the neighbourhood watch?
Yes.
So something like that, but loads of technology and some big gruely bikers behind it. So the community is watching each other. Everyone's organised. There's people, volunteers that I've trained up, that have done my courses as well. I trained up so they'll be on call, shift patterns in every area. So yeah, they can just press a button and someone's going to be there for you. If there's hotspots, so we have a lot of our work's intel. We've got massive intel staff, so where the public can phone in because no one knows who's on the streets, but the public won't talk to the police either. But where we've been, public are dead happy to tell us. They'll phone up my staff now and they'll tell them everything of what's in an area. So with it, let's say, like I said about the problem before with the school, I'd have someone outside that school. There'd be people along that school on a hotspot.
So are we saying that you're building an army of people that are going to be on call to respond?
Yes, but a bit more than that as well. So, like, let's say we know there's certain shops that have rooms in the back of the shops. That will not be going on. I will have people outside the shop. Hotels, the hotels are rife with letting this going on. I will have people in that hotel until they stop. If they still don't stop, that's when the outlaw bikers will turn up and surround your hotel. We'll do it with presents, and we've got to be legal because we can't go away anywhere.
Is it a business or a charity? What is
It's
it?
a CIC, so it's a community interest company.
Oh, I don't know what a CIC is.
So basically, it's a non-for-profit. Everything has to go back into the community.
Right.
If let's say a load of bikers do a fundraiser and they make some money, it's not for profit for me to go and spend on a boat. It's got to go back into the community, and so it's community for the community.
How are you going to deal with that logistically, though? What's the process?
So what do you mean logistically? I'm going to building in every town. I've got area managers pretty much in every town now across the whole UK.
Let's say I'm a woman,
yeah,
and I'm under attack, and
Yeah.
I've got your app,
yeah.
and I press the
Yeah.
emergency button.
Yeah.
It's like having a
So
panic
whoever's in that town will get to you because you'll have your location straight away.
And have you got a response time that you commit to?
Well, not at the moment because every town's there. This is 4 weeks old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks old. We've got a massive team.
So it's still in the infancy
Yeah,
stage?
yeah. So it's only 4 weeks old. I've been planning this for a long time, but to get people in action, get people trained.
So what's your vision?
DBS. Vision.
As if you want me to invest in your business, give me the vision.
The whole mission is stopping all this with women and children going on the streets and with presence and legal. Now, we've got to do it legal. If we do vigilante, we get shut down. We've got to make sure this stays because if we get shut down because one idiot does something wrong and the whole business gets shut down, then we just let everyone else down.
And is everybody a volunteer?
Everyone's a volunteer, yeah.
Okay, so I'm playing devil's advocate here because I run a security firm.
Yeah.
And I know that even when you're paying somebody, they're unreliable. So what happens if a volunteer just doesn't respond?
We've got loads of volunteers. So I've loads of volunteers. But hopefully, call it a pipe dream, but it's absolutely, I was not expecting it to go big so quick. I thought maybe it'd take me a few years.
These are questions everyone's going to want to know.
That's it. So it's building up quick in a lot of areas. So I've got all members areas on the website. So everyone's coming into the counties now. And there's managers putting in place and they're all getting organised.
Are you still kind of finding your feet as you go along?
Yeah. It's never been done before. I'm going off a bit of what the Guardian Angels did, which wasn't my intention, but because I didn't realise they did that.
What's that, New York subways?
Yeah. So I went off, looking at that, and then the legal teams. Most of my work's been with legal teams and what we can do, what we can't do. Looking at how other organisations that came together to get to protest or whatever, how they've been shut down. Everyone that outspoke, how they got shut down.
Because you're going to scale this nationally, I'm assuming.
There's absolutely a lot in Canada and America. And
so as a businessman that's run a security company for 16 years, I know how hard it is to scale a business up. So how are you going to scale it up? How are you going to fund it?
So at the moment, it's all volunteers. Funding, I'll find it. I'm not even thinking about that at the moment, but I know it'll come. But it's all volunteers, and I'm giving all my time anyway. I'm training all the county managers at the moment, and the Intel staff are being trained at the moment as well.
And how would I join the Shield?
So you just go on the website, 𝐻𝐸𝐷𝐿.com, and click on Become a Member. And then you get all access to the members area, all the jobs. There's loads of jobs there, full descriptions of every job, and the legalities of that job, what you can and can't do in that role.
Because I'm assuming you haven't got recruitment agencies that are volunteers.
No.
There's got to be people that you're paying behind the scenes.
No. So, I mean, at the moment, we're managing to do it for free, or very minimum. The biggest cost is the DBS checks. Obviously, for people that are going to work in certain roles, they need to be checked out.
So who does that? You?
Yeah, well, we've got a girl that's not doing that now, so she does DBS checks.
You could save money if you make them get their ACRO instead.
Yeah, we've got a few different things on the board at the moment. But yeah, so I've got, first job I did was get a team in of experts. So that's where I started. So we've got a full committee of experts.
Who are these experts?
So we've got 3 legal advisors, 1 legal secretary, 2 legal advisors that really know the stuff, 1 barrister scale, 1 of the, let's say, anti-current law, the common law, down that route. So Intel staff, that are very military grade intel staff.
What's that? Ex-military, MI5, that ilk.
Yeah.
And all these people going to put their faces on the website to show who they are.
Well, maybe in the future we'll see.
Because that's another thing I had to do because people want to know who they're speaking to. And who,
that's what I mean. We are literally 4 weeks old. 4 weeks it's been.
I know I'm giving you a grilling, but I know people are going to want to know because
it's good. I want people to know.
A lot of people are very excited because we all want the women and children to be safe, and all of a sudden we've got this big handsome tattooed bearded geezer saying, "I've got the plan."
Yeah.
So I just want to know. I want to make sense of the plan myself because if I believe in it and I buy into it. I'm going to promote it. So I need to just get my head round how does this logistic, because the idea of it and the concept is beautiful and I know what's inspired you to do it. So everything is like, well, this ticks all the right boxes. It's just like logistically, how's that going to work?
Okay, so we got, because
it sounds
so we've got my committer. It sounds what, illegal?
It sounds illegal. It sounds like the police are just going to come down on you the first incident, or if you go and you turn up to a scene and there's some fucking piece of shit doing wrong that you know what you and me would want to do to him, but you break his wrist, putting him in a hold.
No, so we're not going to engage. There's all rules around engagement and everything to keep us away from them scenarios. Just by, we've got the Vigilante, you've got the Pred Hunters and all that, and all do great work. Everyone's hitting it from their areas. This has got to work legally, and it will work. Trained staff in every area that will turn up, but they're not going to engage. We're not there to hit the predator. We're not there to twat that as much as we all want to. We're there to get that kid home. And that's the difference.
But what happens if you find yourself in an altercation?
Because he's saying if there's going to be a crime committed, then a crime, you know the rules. If a crime's committed, then you can respond.
But will the police not just put a stop to it?
No.
Have you got a relationship with the police? Social services,
I've got meetings.
Schools, councils?
I've got meetings. I've got a lot of meetings.
Okay. I mean, this is a very exciting prospect.
Yeah, and I'm also being very transparent as well. Everything, as I get to the hardships of going into the police, because obviously when I launch it, it's as I get into the hardships, and I'm going to be so transparent online. This is where I'm up to. This is what I'm going on.
Nowadays, if you're not, you get caught out. You've got to be.
Yeah.
You've got to be, which is very honourable. Why you've turned up and you're happy to answer questions because you always knew you was going to get questioned about the shield because people are like. Literally, you're like their knight in shining armour.
Yeah, well,
old ladies are looking at you thinking, shit, my grandchildren are safe now.
Well, I need the public behind it. This is not about me. It's not about the shield. This is literally what other choice have we got as a people. The reason why I got a committee is because I know I get things wrong. I know I mess up. I know things that I'm going to miss things. There's things, and this is why I've got an advisory board.
How many volunteers do you think you're going to need to cover the whole?
Well, the statistics guy goes, well, the minimum, if you've got all these all the admin, the women that take the calls and all that, have an average 17,500.
That's what you'll need to cover the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
You will have to have a backup plan for when volunteers go sick because I'm telling you, they will.
Well, there's a lot of businesses, especially the areas I've been spending a lot of time in. Instead of like seeing patrols walking around, sat there policing the streets, it's not that. If you do see our lads on the streets or women, it's going to be at a school or business. We're not walking up and down the streets. There's nothing to walk up and down the streets to look at. We're not trying to put a big show on here and say, get a lot of people asking about domestic violence and knife crime. Or can you stop these kids riding motorbikes? Like, no, we're here for one reason.
Is it a paid service or is it a free service?
Free. It's going to be free to everyone, yeah. If you do see them on the street, it's going to be outside a school that's had problems. Or if they've been called. So a mum's phoned them, there's people in the park again. There's some guys sketchy knocking on people's doors. We'll just come and watch, make sure they're not doing anything. If we engage for something like that, then we're getting ourselves in trouble. But just the presence will put them off.
And you're confident that the police are going to be okay with this and that you can work within the legal frame?
The only issue was if you sit in fours, they might try and stop you that way. So if you're on the street and there's four of you, but break off into two and they can't.
And will they be in uniform?
They'll have a fluorescent jacket on. To be honest, I didn't want uniform. I'd rather they didn't have anything. But then the presence, so they said you got to do something with a shield in the back. So if the police turn up to that, where there's two men stood over there and a man and woman stood over there just keeping an eye on things, I don't think they'd have to explain why they've got an issue with that to me. Why is that an issue? Because not breaking in law.
What about the SIA? Where do you think you're going to sit with the Security Industry Authority?
There's no one actually doing security. No one's actually being in a paid role to do a job. So we have gone through so many bits of paperwork with the SIA. The barristers know it all out, but he said, no, you're all right. You're all right. I can't, obviously, there's so much going on. I can't remember everything.
Be honest, is this whole thing overwhelming at the moment?
No, I love it. I love it. I love the chaos of it.
But I mean, the organisation, because...
Yeah. Well, it's been really good. And it would have overwhelmed me. Literally, every time I need something, I open a message and there it is. Chris, I'm this. Chris, can I do your website? Just as my website went down because my first website got overrun with people that went on it. A local company there, i360 for me. They built all the website fresh and and they've hosted it for free and everything. They've actually gone out the way and the legal team. I've not had to phone one legal person.
Do you know what? Here's a thought. Because you can get a rough idea of my background and the abuse that's gone on in my family. Yeah. No one wants women and children protected more than me. And no one wants, I want men like you protecting women and children because I can tell that you're more than capable. So I want this to work. Yeah. This is a suggestion. Because it's at the infancy stage and I can't quite work out how the logistics are going to work and how you're going to scale it up and how it's going to be funded because there's a lot going on. Yeah. But here's a suggestion. You hold a Shield seminar where you're on stage and you've got your board, an audience with, give them free access or £2 entry, just something so you cover your time and just have a Q&A and just let everyone fire questions and that'll help build the community as well. And that way it is full transparency and film it.
Yeah, we've got the one in planned. I literally go. Come. Yeah, I go live about 7 o'clock every night on TikTok for that reason. For everyone to come on and all my admin are there. There's admin and thing there. And we just sit there for an hour, 2 hours. I sit there and answer all the questions because everything changes every day. This is where we got up to now. I got through that red tape. But yeah, we're going to start with the YouTube because obviously I've literally over 10,000 messages every day.
How you sleeping at night at the moment?
Oh, great. Great. No, dude, straight in, and I get straight back up and straight on it all day. I love it.
Because I know what you're doing is a mammoth task, and I know it's overwhelming, and I know that the more abuse and tragedy you see, it does start fucking with your mind. What I want to do is now move on from the Shield. Yep. But before we do, because there's a lot of interesting stuff I want to ask you about that I've researched on you, which I find fascinating. I think I've asked enough questions on the Shield. Yep. I'm still not 100% sure of how its mechanics, but I'm sure I will.
So I'll just cover that quickly. And so as you join as a member on the website, you then have access to the forums. Then all the forums are divided up into counties. Every county's got their managers. They're at the process now of the managers getting everyone in to their groups. Then I'm going to go around and train people. That's where we're up to.
So you're going to have to hire out big halls because you have to train hundreds at once, won't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be interested to watch the growth of this. Yeah. And so where can people come to you to ask you direct questions where you can just ping them back, either emails or words or whatever?
So we've got contacts on the We Are the Shield website. At the moment, I don't think the SEO's done, so you have to put it in the address bar. It's a brand new website.
And have you got, where you say full transparency, will you answer every question that's asked in writing?
I
think the public will want that.
I want that as well. No, this operation it's not about me. I need people asking questions that I've not seen, and if we can work it out at the beginning, then it helps us to get the foundation straight going ahead. Because this can't go anywhere; it's got to stay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be doing this. I've said this, and this is why I make a big song and dance about me being an outlaw biker. I want the government to do the job. I'd rather quit and go back to my job. I don't want to be doing this.
I would love more than anyone for this to be if it's a free service protecting women and children by big grizzly men like you. You've got my vote. What are the police doing wrong that's created a space for you to do this?
For police officers I've spoke with, they're not allowed to do the job. It's always the same thing. You have to leave the children in places where they know they're going to be in danger, or they get told, no, he's going to be let out in a minute. And they're like, this is not what we joined for. I know everyone's got a lot of hatred for the police, and I know in my life, they've fucked me over quite a few times. But I do believe, I can't let go of the facts that I do believe that they joined for a reason, and given the chance, they would do the job. I do believe it's, It's that they're being told to let these people go. They, well, obviously they are. There's CPS, the government. They get told to let them out the cell.
So you think the police have become too weak, and that's created your opening?
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's it. They can't do the job. I find it fascinating that I do that. Police join, and I believe they join really. Either they got bullied a lot, but I do believe they join really because they want to make a difference. I'd like to think 75% wanted to make a difference or do something for the community.
Are you worried that you'll become a government target?
What's the worst it can do? One big lesson, which was part of this journey, was when I was in prison. And I was sat there, and I was, as you know, through my journey, I love meditating. I got to sit there, meditate all day, had my food brought to me, and live, no stress. So if that's the worst it can do to me, put me back in there.
Yeah, so you don't fear jail?
I don't care.
No.
I know what I do fear? Sitting there thinking I'm a man, I've done nothing about it. Sitting there thinking, oh, I'm Billy Big Bollocks. Oh, yeah. That I put everything else, knowing that a woman down the road is getting abused, or not. There's a kid's getting taken off the street. Knowing there's a shop down the road that's got all these 12-year-olds in the back and giving them vapes, and I've sat there and done nothing. That's what
I want to ask you about. Because you get intel, you get people feeding you information that won't get published in the mainstream media. What's going on out there that the general public just don't know about? Just how bad is it out there?
So to have two 12-year-old girls that I was talking to, that had just come back from doing what they do, and I had to step in and have a word with them. To tell them, I don't really want to use this language on here. I don't know what to.
No, you fill your boots.
So to say, it's all right, Chris, we're only sucking a dick. We get a vape. It's normal. From two 12-year-old girls. That broke me.
That breaks my fucking heart.
That broke me.
Yeah.
That was the week I went, right, fuck it. I've had enough of this. I've had enough of doing homework. I've had enough of fucking intel. I've had enough of piecing all. I've had enough of this. I cannot sit here. And I was already on a bull in a China shop anyway. I don't care what them. Government to me don't exist. They've never done anything to me. Everything I've got in my life, I've had to go and get myself. All they've done is take. I don't want to sit here and be anti-government, anti-system, but they just don't exist in my life.
You're not going to let them deter you?
No. What are you going to do? There's nothing they can do. What do you lock me up for something I've not done? Because I'll have to do that because I've done it all legally. But I'll be so transparent with it as well.
Let me touch base on Stoicism with you because I know that you've looked right into that and philosophy. How does a man step into power? By
finding himself. First, again, a bit about on what I've said.
Bit of meditation.
Shut that part of your brain down, see who you really are. Read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations about 1,000 times, and you'll see who you really are. It's one of the best books ever written, and a great manual for men.
Yeah, give me a few pointers. How does a man become a man again? Because I think men have been feminised.
Yeah.
How does a man become masculine again? Because we used to be manly.
One of the biggest things is get around other men. Men are designed to hunt together. The women stayed, and I'm not being any, the women stayed in that I go back to nature on everything. How was we designed? We weren't designed to how we live now. Women looked after the camp. This is how we naturally lived. The men went out hunting together. The men spoke to each other. The men had bonds with each other. You get sniffing the coke and drinking the beer and all that in thinking you're respected by having a fight in the pub. You think, yeah, I got my respect. There's a scientific study on it and showed men coming back to their women with food. That's where they get respect from. You've done your job as a man. You've done your job.
You've hunted.
Now, we don't really get that with a Tesco's, 2 bags of Tesco's shopping and a paycheck.
They've made hunting easier for us, haven't they?
I do some of my retreats where, by what the men do in the axe throwing and stuff like that, they get paid in meat. So then the women are on the other side. So when I do my big retreats like that, it's fantastic. They smile on the men's face when they're taking, look at all the food I got for you. Every man's different. There's no manual for a man. Every man's built differently. Every man's programmed differently. First rule of Stoicism, let go of the external. You can't control the external.
What about the ego? We need a little bit of ego, don't we?
What is ego? Ego's a programmed mind. So everyone said, if you didn't have a programmed mind, you didn't have an ego, you've not got a personality. So this, especially in the spiritual world, ego gets thrown around. Oh, you're showing your ego. Of course you fucking are. It's your personality. It's what you're programmed to do. So you need your ego.
Yeah, I think we do need. It's good to put your ego aside sometimes, but also it's equally as important to keep hold of your ego. What's the biggest battles you've ever fought and some of the hardest obstacles you've had to overcome?
I touched on it before when I found out my sister was being abused, and I thought I'd done up my job as a man. Even though I was only a young kid, I was devastated. That took a lot to come to terms with. I was like, wow, I did everything. To then bringing up my brothers and sisters, because obviously he went to jail. So I spent my younger years bringing up my brothers and sisters. Biggest battles of life is life in itself. Getting up every day, not giving up. Going, you know what? I've had nothing in the bank. I've had loads of money in the bank. Ups and downs every day. It's staying grounded every day.
And have you been approached by the mainstream media for the work that you're currently doing?
No, I got a phone call of someone pretending to be a media, an in-betweener.
An agent for the mainstream?
Yeah. And that is not a show I'll be going on.
Do you think? I mean, this is, I suppose, it's speculation, but do you think the mainstream media will be in favour of your mission, or do you think they'll frown upon it, or maybe even try and boycott it, or belittle it and get you on and sort of take the piss?
I think the mainstream media's got an opinion on what they'll just do as they're told as normal.
You would think the mainstream media would get wind of you and think, I've got to have a conversation with this man.
That gives people hope, though. That someone's doing something in the community. They'd rather drag me down so no one has hope.
But you're optimistic.
It's been a long time since I've seen any mainstream media print any good news or anything that gives anyone hope. It all seems to be doom and gloom, fear. Remember, there's two ways to program a person. Repeatedly telling them something or putting emotion, especially fear behind it. What's media built on? Repeatedly telling you the same fears. Because your neurons remember it and that becomes your personality. And that's what you live off every day, of them fears. That's how you program someone. That's the only rules of programming. Repetitively tell. That's how manipulative partners do it. Repeat, you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit.
Machine gunning.
And then it's like, I'll hit you in a minute, I'll hit you, I'll do this. And then you believe it. And that's then men and women coming out on the other side of toxic relationships are saying the same thing. I believe all this stuff. So that's exactly how the media do it as well.
I've asked somebody else this, so I'm not just singling you out. And I've been asked it as well. Have you got any skeletons in your closet?
I think to do this, I've brought them all out. I knew I had to. I've thrown them all out there. In fact, I made it a point of doing it. There's nothing I can hide because I need to be, what are you going to come at me for? I've give job, even for the Shield, I give job roles out to everyone. You think I'm doing it for that reason? Well, that's the guy that looks after that. It's the CIC. He's over there independent. Everyone's, I've got to be transparent on everything. And to be honest, I thought it was quite fun. Everyone knows, when I was talking before about making money, I was doing a lot of hitman work. I was doing a lot of naughty stuff. But it felt right to bring it out on this, to go, well, this is who I am. And if I've got to do your job, then you're having someone like me that's gone through what I've done. So I kind of used it. I got to put my skeletons out, but also use it. I don't want to be doing this job. I don't want to be... I think women should already feel safe. Children shouldn't be getting taken off the streets. Women should not be, getting taken off Lime Street train station. The woman who had her 2 kids and he locked her out of a car when she put her kids. These guys were, why is your kid not telling me, do you love me? And all this. And why everyone's trying to pull her pram, and they're trying to separate. And she got the kids in the car and he locked her out of the car because they got these devices.
So this is now your sole purpose. This is your.
Yeah.
So I know your driving force. I know your inspiration. I still got to try and work out the logistics, but
maybe help me out, figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very exciting, and I think that we've covered a lot of things that I think people will want to know, because you've come out of nowhere on the scene and you've been very honest with your past, with your skeletons, so you can't get knocked for that. And I think people prefer a guy with a bad past that's honest than a guy that's got a moderate past but they lie. I think the UK are sick of being lied to. Yeah. And sometimes your imperfections make you perfect. Yeah. And I think you've been very honest in telling me, you told me about jail, the violence, the doors, the shifting bits and pieces, the earning 10 grand a day, and then giving it all up because you wanted to go and find yourself. Very interesting. I just hope And I'm going to ask you one more question in a second to wrap it up. But I really, really hope that logistically the Shield works and people do get a free service to security and peace of mind. I think that's very honourable. You've said where people can find you. I've suggested do a seminar where it's a Q&A. I don't think we can cover much more than that.
No.
So my final question is, what would you say to the men watching and listening this podcast, to the men of Great Britain? What would your final message to them be?
Start being who you're meant to be. Men are meant to be up, protect, like I said before about hunting. You're also meant to be protecting the women and children. If you've seen any of my posts where men have messaged going, you know what, I've got a reason to go to the gym every day now. Since I joined the Shield, I've got a reason to get myself fit. I'm not sniffing anymore. I'm not doing this. I feel alive. So many messages like that. Men are meant to be. Like me, I was living the empowerment life. I was teaching men how to be men. And I still didn't have it. Because I wasn't looking after what's important. We had it. Men are here for one reason only: defend your family, defend your community. If you're not doing that, you're not a man. If you're not doing your bit in whichever way it is, you're not a man.
I feel like I've grilled you a bit, certainly more than I would normally guess. But I hope you understand why. Because when you see someone come out of nowhere that you've never met or seen before, and then all of a sudden they're promising to basically save the world, you know what I mean? I do need to know. And people that follow me and support my work, they need to know. So, but because I have gone in on you a little bit, is there anything you want to ask me? Anything? Because I'm also open to scrutiny and questioning and stuff like that.
Maybe in a few weeks if we get these security questions.
Well, this is your opportunity to do it on camera. Anything you want to ask?
No, to be honest, I can't even think. No, my head's full of Shield and logistics and everything else I've got going on.
I bet it is.
But just thanks for opening up your show.
Yeah, no, and thanks for coming on, being so transparent. And I sincerely hope it works. And when you do put that seminar on, you have my word, I'm going to be there.
Perfect.
Good health, Chris.
Thank you.
Cheers, brother.